like, you have to start conditioning yourself. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, it's funny because a lot of people ask me, they go, what's like one piece of advice to be an entrepreneur? I go, don't be an entrepreneur. And they're like, what do you mean by that? That's crazy. And I'm like, no, don't be an entrepreneur. Trust me, like, just don't. And what I'm doing is trying to challenge people to like, be like, well, I want to, because like, look, entrepreneurship is not this like easy feat. It sucks, right? Like every entrepreneur that's like built something of significance or of importance, it like understands the daily grind, the sleepless nights.
Welcome to Stuck to Unstoppable, where we interview the world's foremost thought leaders to break things down in order to help you get past your hurts, habits, and hangups and finally level up and move forward. I'm your host, Scoggins. Now let's go ahead and get into today's guest and our featured conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. Can someone really become an overnight highly successful entrepreneur? Well, my guest today actually did just that, going from $0 to $1 million in sales in less than a month with a digital products business. Now, my good friend, Blake Nubar, is teaching others how to do the same thing with over 3,000 students in 86 countries, helping them also become overnight successful entrepreneurs in the digital marketing space, as well as helping them understand how to build a scalable business in record timing. So help me welcome my good friend, Blake Nubar.
What's up, Steven? Thanks for having me, man. I'm pumped to be here.
Dude, I'm excited. I love bootstrap entrepreneur stories. They're a lot like mine, where you have to start with nothing and build something pretty special. And I also love the fact that you have this amazing heart to actually go out and help other entrepreneurs. I'm a big believer in you got to be kind of serve the person you used to be kind of philosophy. So that's kind of like my go-to thing. So when I got a chance to talk to you and kind of look forward to this conversation, I was like super stoked and excited. But for those who may not know you, what's a little bit about Blake's origin story? Kind of how did you get to where you are kind of thing? Because to be sure, you didn't start off rich and famous.
No. So it started out of frustration, actually. So my origin story probably began back in college. Broke college kid, no business endeavor. Always thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but didn't really have anything in sight until one day my business partner and I, we were studying for an exam. And if you talk to any student in school, studying for an exam really just meant cramming as much information as possible, just to regurgitate it out on the exam to hopefully get it. That's it, to hopefully get a good grade. And we're sitting there, we're going through these study guides, which are like just massive packets of information. And it's just all word vomit. And we're just going through this and we're like, man, there's got to be a better way to learn information, because this is terrible. And if anyone's listening or watching right now, if you guys are students, you can totally relate to this. So we started drinking one night and we had this idea and we're like, hey, like what if we take this current packet of information and transformed the way it was? So instead of studying all these words, what if we turned it into like mnemonic devices and visual and animations and video, and basically just transform the modality of the information? So we created what we called a Visi guide. Instead of a study guide, it was called a Visi guide. And we created a WordPress website and started charging like $5 for these things. And we're just sitting there like, oh, I hope this can work. So we have the product up, we have this thing up. We don't know if it's going to work. So we did this crazy thing and I got a gorilla suit and I got inside of this massive gorilla suit, and my business partner had a boombox and like 1990s, like gear on, like sunglasses. And we bombard one of the college classes where I was attending that had like 3,000 students in it. And we got in front of the class and we're just like, hey, you want an A on your next exam? This is where you need to go. This is what you need to buy. And we ran out of the classroom. We went and we went to like a bar to start drinking, because again, we were college kids. And the next thing happened, it completely changed my life. We're sitting at the bar and my phone goes off and we get this notification and it's our first sale for $5. And we went nuts. We went absolutely crazy. We went gangbusters on this thing. And then like a few moments later, another sale came in for $5. And then a few moments after that, more sales came in. And by the end of the night, we generated over $800 in sales from a digital products business. And that entire semester, we generated $5,000 in sales. And that's when I realized the power of building something up once, using the internet to sell it, and reaping the benefits as long as it was available for sale.
Love it, dude. Love it. Love it. I think a lot of people think that they have to have millions of dollars or all kinds of capital or all kinds of equipment or all kinds of stuff to get started in business. And especially now in this day and age, it's like super duper easy to take a passion, right, and turn it into a digital product and turn it into a digital offering, and then give it to somebody who can actually benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
What are some of the things, you've worked with lots of entrepreneurs, right? You got a huge tribe now. What are some of the things that essentially your entrepreneurs face before they get to you specifically? What are some of the things that you see them trying to overcome?
Yeah. So the same things that I think we all go through as entrepreneurs, right? Like there's no different, right? Like one entrepreneur, like Jeff Bezos started the same way as Jobs, as like, it's just, we all start the same way, right? Like at the end of the day, no one has this grand vision. Like we might have a vision, but no one knows what your business is going to become. And the first thing I think we all go through is that we have these limiting beliefs as to why we can't do what we're going to set out to accomplish, right? We try to make excuses as to why it can't work for me, or I don't know what to do, or, I'm not good enough. And what we're really doing is just our brain is basically protecting us from fear from failure, or what are my parents going to think, or this is nothing new, right? Like if you guys have probably heard this before, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are my friends going to think? What's my family going to think? And at the end of the day, it's like, you have to get over those limiting beliefs, because at the end of the day, it's fear is not real. Like danger is a real thing, but fear is something that your brain makes up to protect you from doing something different and breaking you out of your comfort zone. So anytime someone comes to me, like it's the same, like classification of any first-time entrepreneur, which is really a lot of this skepticism, a lot of this, like, I have this cool idea, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to accomplish it. And I don't think I'm good enough to do it yet. And at the end of the day, it's like, you have to like kind of get over that and go and embrace the fact that you're going to suck a little bit in the beginning and constantly get better and better and better. And I think most people that get to me for the first time, they're kind of in that phase of, hey, look, I want to try and make money online. I want this identity shift. Hey, I was an accountant, but now I want to use the internet to generate income. But like, man, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't know what to do. Like, I need help on that. And that's kind of where I come in.
Yeah, no worry. I mean, you've helped lots of entrepreneurs do really, really well, especially in the online medium and space. And, so much of becoming an entrepreneur is actually battling yourself, right? You're, one of the, obviously I do a lot of content driven stuff to help people kind of battle yourself and win, right? In school, they don't teach you how to wrestle your limiting beliefs. They don't teach you how to watch the relationships you have in place. They don't teach you how to manage a checkbook nowadays, let alone anything else. So when we start looking at entrepreneurship, I find that the people who are most versatile and the people who enjoy entrepreneurship the most are typically risk-driven people who have to overcome the imposter syndrome.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that imposter syndrome is like at the heart of everything.
It really is. Like, look, that again, it comes down to your brain. Is kind of like, you have to start conditioning yourself. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, it's funny because a lot of people ask me, they go, what's like one piece of advice to be an entrepreneur? I go, don't be an entrepreneur. And they're like, what do you mean by that? That's crazy. And I'm like, no, don't be an entrepreneur. Trust, like, just don't. And what I'm doing is trying to challenge people to like, be like, well, I want to, because like, look, entrepreneurship is not this like easy feat. It sucks, right? Like every entrepreneur that's like built something of significance or of importance, it like understands the daily grind, the sleepless nights, the headache, the turmoil, everything that goes into it. Honestly, you have to be a crazy person to want to be an entrepreneur. So I always tell people, I'm like, just don't be one. But what I'm really trying to do is kind of like filter out, like, do you want to at least attempt it? Right. And I think it's important. It's like, yeah, we have this imposter syndrome that kind of like, it's pulling on us, right? Like one part of you wants to like really be successful and push things forward. And the other part is constantly like, I'm not good enough. It's like this angel devil, like, you got this, you can do it, you're going to crush it. And then it's like, no, you're not good enough. You suck. You're always going to suck. You don't know as much as you should. You should feel a little guilty teaching this stuff. But you have to remember that like, what you know right now, like where you're at and what you know, like you might be a mechanic. You might know how to do something better than someone else. And you might second guess that all the time. I promise you, you know how to do something better than someone else. And that imposter syndrome is just going to be something that follows you your entire journey. Like there's never a moment that like I wake up or my business partner and I, there's never a moment we wake up and we don't have that imposter syndrome that's right behind us at every step of the way, because no matter how good you get at something, there's always going to be that little imposter syndrome behind you that's like, you're not that good enough yet. And then you always have to just remember to kind of like shut it out and shut out that noise, because it's just going to keep fighting you the whole time. Like instead of like trying to like let it derail you, just embrace that it's going to be there and realize like it's not real. You're good at something. It's time for you to go show the world what that is.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I've heard you discuss before on some of your content that I think is powerful is this, in order to overcome the imposter syndrome, in order to overcome these limiting beliefs, is to build off of little wins. One of the things I love most about your whole business endeavor is it teaches people, hey, look, just get a little success, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Do you find that building off the little wins helps you for the bigger ones?
Absolutely. Yeah. So building off the little wins is key because when you look at any competitive landscape, what I see right now is that everyone's trying to teach you how to go for this grand slam, right? Like forget first, second, third base, like forget even the home run, like go for the grand slam. And when you're setting someone up for that, like it's kind of misleading because it's almost like, I mean, look, you gotta walk before you run. You have to crawl before you walk. Like there's specific things you need to do. And like when we're looking at something, it's like, man, like you don't have to go for this grand slam. Like you don't have to go make 10, 100 trillion bazillion dollars online your first swing at it. Why don't we just show you that it's possible to make money using the internet? And that doesn't mean like, look, can you become a millionaire? Absolutely. People do it every single day. But I'm more of a fact. We strive on the fact that like, let us show you that you can get some wins, right? It might be your first sale. It might be your first client. It might be a lead. Someone decided to give you their contact information on your landing page, right? These little wins are important because I think so many times they're overlooked and they're not celebrated as big as they should. I think that the conversation should be a lot louder over these little wins because not only do little wins prove to you that it's possible, like it not only shuts up your inner voice saying this doesn't work, it completely eliminates that, but also it gives you the momentum to keep pushing you forward every single day to go and step up to the plate and hit that grand slam. But like coming out of the gate, I'm not going to tell you, hey, listen, you're going to step up to the plate and you're going to hit a grand slam. Could you? Absolutely. People do it all the time. But I'm going to be like realistic with you. Like, let me just show you that you can make money online first so I can open up your mind to endless possibilities of what you can do versus like sell you this dream of you're going to make $1 trillion when in reality, I want you to just believe that it's possible versus like the result right now.
For sure. You know, and the other thing that I see in the entrepreneur space a lot, obviously I'm in that space as well. You know, been in business now for what, 20 plus years trying to figure things out and create, you know, a good size organization, stuff like that, is that for some reason, culture celebrates success and doesn't celebrate the sacrifice, which I think sets potential entrepreneurs or wantrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs up to unrealistic expectations. I think one of the things that I love about talking to fellow entrepreneurs that are actually getting out there and they're trying to grind it is we can say, hey, no, we need to celebrate the sacrifice. We need to celebrate like the sleepless nights, what it's like to make payroll, what it's like to dream big, not be able to raise the capital we want for the thing we want and have to grind it out and get creative, you know, not realizing that the entire time it's the sacrifice and the things that we learn around the sacrifice that actually set up those home run successes. Talk a little bit about the importance of sacrifice in business for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So that's a great topic, right? If I had to boil it down, I would say like entrepreneurship, and this is just my arbitrary number, is like 90% sacrifice journey, like 10% success. And what I mean, let me elaborate on that, right? I don't mean like, oh, only 10% of this game success. No, I mean that when you're in the game long enough and you get success, when you're an entrepreneur, it comes and goes like that. It's like the quickest thing ever. And the build up to that success is so many sleepless nights, so many sacrifices, people getting angry at you, people happy with you, whatever it might be. Like the journey is there's not so much talk around the journey. There should be more. And like you're saying, there's only a lot of communication, a lot of talk and a lot of noise around the wins. But in reality, when you're in the mix, those wins they're like, look, they're great. You need wins. It keeps you moving forward. It validates what you're working on, but they come and go so quick until you fall in love with the sacrifice. It's going to be hard to really get up every single day and push things forward to find the success that you're after, because until you fall in love with that journey, it's just going to be tough. You have to fall in love with sacrificing. You have to be willing to put in the hours. Like, look, if it was as simple as we all want it to be, we all know that everyone on the world would be doing it. I'd be sipping Mai Tais and pina coladas, hanging out in Bora Bora every single day, and the beaches would be packed, but they're not, because it does take effort. It does take work. Yeah. So yeah, the sacrifice is needed to be successful. Yeah, just plan on dedicating a good amount of time to becoming good at something where people find value in it, and then you can monetize that. But that is what you need to fall in love with. You need to embrace the suck, and until you do, it's just going to be an uphill battle and a roller coaster with your emotions until you understand that it's part of the journey. And you need to go into this not like, I'm going to become mega successful. That's great. Like, that's awesome. You just need to come into it knowing like, this is going to be a lot of like uphill battle. It's going to be a lot of those restless nights. It's going to be a lot of this grind. And if you can wake up every single day and get out of bed and realize that there's a good chance that you are going to go to bed that night and most likely nothing is going to push forward how you want it to. And if you can keep doing that over and over and over again, then that's when you're onto something. Okay. That is when you need to go to bed at night and going, you know what? It's been a month. Nothing's really moved, but you're still in the game. And that's the difference maker, because most people would give up because they don't have the grit for it. But if you can hang in the game long enough, I promise you're going to find success in one way or another.
Yeah. It's one thing I love about entrepreneurship specifically is and I'm sure you're this way too. We've been in it long enough now where we can almost sense a person that's going to be successful as an entrepreneur and someone who's not. Only because once you've been through the suck, you've been through the sacrifice, it's like you wear it as an aura. Like people can sense, okay, this is a legit entrepreneur. I can already sense that they've been through some stuff. I can already sense that they've tried to make payroll and not necessarily known how. Mm-hmm. What are some of the characteristics that you find that are pivotal for future entrepreneurs? What kind of character traits do you see in entrepreneurs? Yeah,
no, that's a great question. Entrepreneurship to me, it's like when I was first getting into it, I'm just like, man, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be awesome. And I firmly believe that deep down, I think that everyone has a little bit of entrepreneurship in them. It's the reason that we got as far as we did as humans to this day. We've survived the most strenuous climate conditions. We've done the craziest things, right? We're remarkably resilient. But in terms of what we've seen and what I've personally seen that differentiates successful entrepreneurs from those that are just not getting the hang of it is, one, you have to take big, bold moves. You have to be very big and bold in everything that you do. It has to be aggressive, right? What I look at as an entrepreneur that's very successful is most likely they're aggressive in what they do, whether it's going to get new clients, whether it's to really get their product and service out to the world. They're extremely aggressive in that. They have these characteristics and these personality traits with personality. They're very sociable. They know how to talk to people. They're charismatic, right? There's things that just separate them. They have grit. They have tenacity. They carry these traits that separate them from the gen pop in a way that you could just look at someone and be like, yeah, you might be working for someone right now. I could look at someone right away and be like, what do you do for a living? And they're like, I'm, go back to the accounting example. I'm an accountant. And I could just have 20 minutes of conversation with you. And if I could tell right by your frame that I'm like, you can try something else, and there's a good chance you can have success with it because of who you are as a person. So the things that I look for is you got to be aggressive at what you do. If you truly believe in something, you need to push it as hard as possible because you see the value in it. B, you have to take bold moves. You have to always let the success outweigh the risk, right? Most people move away from pain. And I'm probably not the first one to say this. We've heard this a lot. Most people move away from pain, right? I got to get away from my boss. I hate my job, whatever. Entrepreneurs move towards pleasure. You have to be I want to hit that goal. I want to make this a successful online business. So there's a different mindset in that. And then at the end of the day, you just have to have the grit to realize that you are probably going to fail your face off. And you have to stomach the courage to get up every single day. Know it's going to be part of this process for a long time and embrace it. And if I see that in someone, I'm like, yeah, if you just give them the right idea, right? If they have the creativity and the ingenuity and you just give them, if they have that idea, they're probably going to find a way to push it to the finish line just because of who they are as a person.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting when you start looking at the entrepreneurship, there is so much of it boils all the way down to, I'm just not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I think your tips are so pivotal and so powerful, especially for the entrepreneur. And there's been a lot of them this year that are like, dude, I thought I had it going on. Now I'm losing everything. You got other entrepreneurs like, I'm killing it. This is the best year ever. And what I've learned is, truth is in the middle, right? So you're never rocking it as much as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. Correct. Right? I think the sacrifice and the adversity that comes along the way is simply there to make sure that we are learning to identify the process, learn from the process, shape the process, and become better. After you've kind of factored in whether or not you kind of have the entrepreneurship DNA, right? I think the next thing is, and this is a debate, right? I think you and I are on the same page on this one, but I got to ask the question in general. Launch it now or launch it perfect?
Oh, all day, launch it now.
Launch it now or launch it perfect?
Yeah, you're launching now. Oh, I live by this mantra called launching perfectly. It's what my business partner and I live by. And we established this to all of our community, right? Anytime we have waited to launch something, we've waited for it to be perfect, to be better. We've never made money. To this day, every single time we've waited for something to be perfect, we've never made money. Every single time we launch something broken, it breaks records. And the reason behind this is I want everyone to really think about this, right? When you're launching something perfectly, right? What you're really doing is you're prolonging the inevitable because you're scared. You're waiting too long to put it in the public because you have fear. And you have to get over that fear. If you launched it perfectly, what you did is you waited way too long. Okay. So anytime you're like, it's not done yet, I want to tinker with it. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Like every day that goes by that you're working on something, right? The previous day's ideas might not be as good as the next day. We'll be working on projects all the time, Steven. And like, if like on day 30, we'll look back and we'll be like, well, day two's ideas suck. Now day 28's ideas are better. And if you get caught in this loop of like iterating it without launching it to the marketplace, you're doing no one good. You're not doing the marketplace good. You're not doing your bank account good. You're not helping customers. You're not serving customers. All you're doing is you're afraid. And I get it. Look, I've been there. We've been there so many times where it's like, I don't know. I don't want the criticism. The market's going to tell us it sucks. It sucks. I suck. We suck. Everything sucks. Right. We just have to realize like, no one cares. just get it out there because you are going to learn more in the first week of actually launching something in the public than you learned 9 months building the damn thing. So just always launch imperfectly. No one cares about the color of your button. No one cares if your product is like 10% kind of broken. No one cares if a link is broken here. No one cares. What you have to do as an entrepreneur, it's your obligation to get what you truly believe in out in the marketplace as quickly as humanly possible because it helps everyone. And at the end of the day, success favors speed. The faster you get things to market, the more success you have at refining it, making iterations, changing things up, getting customer feedback on how it is, because you'll sit there 2 months and you'll tinker with something, you'll launch it and you'll realize no one wanted it. Like what you thought was cool, the marketplace didn't care about. So the best thing you could do is go sell the idea. You don't even have to like build this thing. Like if you have an idea to be like, man, this would be cool to have this new like iPhone case. Instead of like manufacturing it, go sell the idea. Go see if you can get 5 people to pay you money for this thing that doesn't exist and validate that concept. Then when you have it, go build the thing and then get it out to the marketplace as humanly possible. So yes, launch imperfectly, get that thing out there. If it's perfect in your eyes, honestly, you have a product that is you waited way too long on it.
Definitely. You know, I totally on board with you there. I think people despise the small beginnings. They're looking at their competitor like they got the big building, they got the nice vehicles, they've got all this stuff, and it's like intimidating them. And I think what we're both saying is no. Just do it. Do it your way, right? You know, you kind of test as you invest. You don't need to go out there and all of a sudden like just throw a bunch of money at something and hope it works out. Like start super small. I mean, right now, you know, digital space is obviously you've been crazy successful in the digital marketing world. And, you know, it's never been that difficult now to actually use a Facebook ad or use an Instagram. So, you know what I'm saying? There's all these different tools now to test, to invest at the end of the day. But I want to ask you, when the entrepreneurs that you're working with, do you think it takes capital or human capital to be successful?
Human capital. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, look, it's not, I think Tony Robbins said this. It's not about how many resources you have. It's about how resourceful you really are. Right. And it couldn't be any true, right? The most successful businesses on this planet, like right now, if you take anything from this, the most successful businesses on this planet started from people in their garages, right? They didn't have Silicon Valley, $20 million to start up, which by the way, green entrepreneurs are going to blow through that in freaking 2 months, making all the wrong moves, right? These people started with a vision and an idea that was bigger than them. And they started broke as hell. Okay. Like research it, go look at the biggest businesses that you see. They all started like broke, whether you're out of college dorm room or out of a garage, right? Like it doesn't take a lot of capital. In fact, Steven, and just to prove this, we went the capital route when we were very green entrepreneurs and it did not work out for us, right? Like when you get capital, it gives you this like, oh, I already made it. I'm already successful. Like I did it. We did it. We have a successful business. But couldn't be further from the truth. You will find a way to blow through it because you don't have the experience yet. The best thing you could be doing is take who you are, your human capital, your equity, and go out there and grind on something, learn from trial and error, fail your face off, because it's not going to teach you what worked, but it's going to teach you what didn't work. And if you do that over and over and over and over again, iteration after iteration, you're going to become more experienced with something, and you're going to find a way to be successful. I think the number one thing you could be doing right now is not worried about how much money you have, or make an excuse as to, I don't have the money, I can't start this business. No, that's crap. You can start a business. It just takes you grinding and working at it until you become good enough to find a way to learn how to sell it, learn how to market it, do things like that. All that stuff's free. All that information exists online, period. Okay. Like, and if you understand that, and if you stop pointing the finger, which I did it for the longest time. I'm like, we don't have enough money, we can't start this idea. It's like, what I was really saying was, I'm trying to make an excuse as to why it can't work, versus just going out there and making it work. So yes, I firmly believe human capital all day over capital.
Yeah, for sure. Totally on board, man. It's funny when you get two entrepreneurs together, it's like the synergies are just stupid, especially after you face some stuff, and which brings me to another point. Actually, I was just thinking about this as you were wrapping up there, the importance of a healthy community, right? Because being an entrepreneur, especially in the early days, is super isolating. Like, no, you're the only one doing your dream. You're the only one going after it. You're the only one who believes in it. Everybody and their brother's like, come on, not you. You can't do this. What is the old adage? You can't be a prophet in your own town, kind of thing. And, you've got all those parts and pieces. One of the things that I love about your business, right? One of the things I love about it is this element of community and this element of bringing people together to bring things out of the ground, create these new ideas, create these new concepts and these new strategies and stuff, which is where we kind of run into Blake's partnership program. Love it, dude. Like, break down what Blake's partnership program is, and like how listeners and stuff like that, especially our early entrepreneurs, aspiring people and entrepreneurs, are listening, so they can actually get started and stop waiting.
Yeah, no, great. Oh man, the partner program is awesome. So I'll bring you down memory lane with a little backstory on it. This idea was it came out of scrolling on Facebook one day, like, just not even a frustration per se, but more of like an opportunity. And I remember I was out to dinner one day, I was scrolling on Facebook, and I remember how nosy I am on Facebook. I'm like, I am clicking to everyone's profile constantly. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you working on? What's up? And I realized, I'm like, man, I'm clicking on all these people's profiles. I wonder how often people are clicking to my profile to see what I'm doing, what I'm working on, or, what I do for a living. So I ran this experiment where I went to my Facebook profile specifically, and I transformed it from like your normal profile to where you have like maybe a cover photo of like a sunset on the background. And I transformed it to look like a landing page. I had buttons and links and all these visuals. And basically, like, in a split second, you knew exactly who I was and what I did. And I transformed my profile. 9 days later, I generated $25,000 in sales for my products and services. Completely blew my mind. And I started thinking, I'm like, did I just get lucky with this? Like, did something happen? So I took I took what I did, I wrapped it up into a course, and I called it the Social Media Lead Machine, right? It was just this online course that teaches anyone, if you're a brand new business owner and you're looking to get started online, or if you're a seasoned vet and you're trying to get more leads and sales. I created a course that taught you how to transform your social media profiles to generate more leads and more sales. But I wanted to test it to make sure I just didn't get lucky. So I launched it out to a Facebook group, which I built a community around, because at the end of the day, I think community is the most important thing. I think when you lose sight of your customers, you really lost sight of your business. And I think a lot of people make that mistake, is they focus on their products and services and they forget to focus on their customers. So I launched a Facebook group, and I give everyone in the Facebook group this entire product for $1. The whole point of this was to say, hey, thanks for joining my group. And second, I want to see if this is going to work, because it worked for me, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone else. So a few days go by and I'm like, man, it's a bust. It doesn't work. And then like day 6 happens, and I just get a post after post after post after post of people having massive success with this product. Someone's like, hey, I was in real estate and I used it to generate more real estate leads. And like, it was exploding. So I took this concept, I started running paid ads to it. It started crushing it. But the one thing I noticed when I started running paid ads to this course is that there was all different types of buyers. There was real estate agents buying it, bicycle shop owners buying it. All these different types of business owners were buying this thing. And that's when the idea went off. That's when we started researching. We go, there's 100 million businesses on Facebook. None of them are doing this. None of them have their profiles transformed. And I realized like, I can't do this alone. I can't cater to all these businesses. So I started what's called the partner program. And I now give entrepreneurs, brand new entrepreneurs or people that have their business, and I give them a way to launch a digital products business by taking a franchise of what we have. You get to clone the entire business. You get the funnel, the products, the emails. You get the entire online business. And all I do is teach you how to niche down and go after a specific niche to go after all of these business owners, 100 million business owners that do not have this set up. And that's where the partner program came into play.
Love it, man. See, this is what quality entrepreneurship looks like. You can change a culture, you can change an environment, you can change the economic marketplace, you can change someone's legacy, right? It's cool to create a platform and everything that goes into it, funnels and all that kind of stuff to set somebody up to succeed. But when you think about it, you are actually creating a legacy that outlives you, because someone like myself who just wants to change lives, who has all kinds of digital products, right? For every digital product that goes out, there's a life changed, right? Yep. And that is happening all over the place. It doesn't matter if it's a barbershop or if it's a mechanic shop, you're helping somebody experience what it's like to not have to worry about something. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons I love talking to you. I love spending time with you, because it is that succinct and that tight. What's one final thing that you can think of that entrepreneurs have to focus on if they're going to win at business?
Yeah. So great question. I think this reminds me of a story. I used to work in venture capital, right? I left the dark side. I was working in venture capital, and I remember I was sitting at a round table with like multi-millionaires, mega successful people. I was probably in my early 20s. And guy worth 100 million to my right, guy worth a couple $100 million to my left. And I remember I was just like, one day I was talking to one of them, and I lean over, I go, hey man, like, what would you give some advice? Same question. Like, hey man, like, what's the one thing, like what's the one piece of advice you have to like this aspiring entrepreneur? Like, what is it? Like, you have made so much wealth. You've made so much money. And when I asked him that question, the entire round table was like eavesdropping on it. And they all like propped up, and they're all just like smiling, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. I'm gonna look like, oh, this is the most embarrassing moment ever. And he looks at me and he goes, you know what, Blake, like, contrary to popular belief, like a lot of people would say that look, when you're trying to find your passion, it's really important to like experiment with things. Totally understand. Like, try this, try that, try this, try that, until you find something that really satisfies you. Now, when you find that thing, he looked at me and he's like, hey man, like, most people think that success can be like, it's jumping from one thing to the next, right? Finding things to make work. But honestly, everyone at this table, myself included, that have made hundreds of millions of dollars, we're the ones that we went all in on something, even when it didn't feel right at the time, but we knew we could find a way to make it work. And we turned it into what it was until we beat it into an oblivion, and we successfully accomplished it. And it's like, most people won't do that, right? Most people will jump from one thing to the next, but you have to realize, if you want to be mega successful on something, you need to go all in on one thing. And even if it takes you 5, 10, 15 years, but you truly believe in it and you know that there's potential for it and there's a market for it, you're going to find a way to make it work. That's everyone sitting at this table. And I just remember everyone's face was just like, yep, that's what we all did. Like, they weren't doing a bunch of things. They focused, laser focused, tripled down on one thing, and they didn't leave it. If things weren't working out, they found a way to make it work. So what's the one thing I would leave in this amazing time spent with you, Steven? It's that if you're out there right now and you're trying to get something to work, or you have a desire to make money, whether it's online or offline, when you find that thing that gets you out of bed every single day, triple down on it and stay with it till you make it a success. And don't deter away from that. And you'll find a way to turn that passion into a pursuit and turn it into a business that you thoroughly enjoy.
Dude, that is so good. So good. Now, we're not saying that you should go bankrupt doing this stuff. We're big believers in resourcefulness over resources. You can build a bootstrap business. I started my first company with materials in a trash pile on a building site to get my first company going, right? There's always things that other people are letting go of that can help you build what you want to do. So triple down is obviously, dude, love it. Be smart about it. If you're not sure about it, get an entrepreneur's advice, not broke Uncle Sally or Uncle John or whatever. Like, go to somebody who can actually mentor you. And like Blake, for example, who's a great mentor to a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Blake, dude, love having you on. How can everybody stay connected with you and learn more about the partnership program and just like learn more about you and what you've been doing?
Sure. Yeah. If anyone's interested in the partnership program, I have a training about it. You can go to partnerwithblake.com. If you want to join, I have a free Facebook group where I'm in there, all the time providing value, doing trainings, things like that. It's called Freedom Fighters, Launch Your First $1 Million Sales Funnel. And you can look it up on Facebook. We're in there hanging out. It's about 10,000 of us in that community. And all we do is talk shop in there and find ways to build great businesses using the power of the internet.
Love it, man. Dude, as always, man, I love hanging out with you every time we get on a phone call, get on a Zoom, man. I just love it. I dig it, dude. I love you, man. I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Steven, pleasure is all mine. Appreciate being back, man. This is fun. I love jamming out. And to everyone watching and hanging out, appreciate you guys. And if you ever need help with anything, we're here to guide you every step of the way.
Sounds good. All right, dude. I'll see you later. Take care.
See you, man.
If you're ready to start an internet business, make sure you check out Blake. In the meantime, do me a favor, check out this video right here. I know it's going to take you a long way.
See, a lot of people are like, you lost everything. You had $1 million judgment. You were in a hole. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm a better human being. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better business person for it. And